We are talking about mental health. It's okay not to be okay.
I have been practicing counseling since the year 2010. When we talk about therapy, this is not for people who are mad.
You rather die there.
And people don't commit suicide. People die to suicide. When you are sharing information with someone, this person is not a professional.
Sure.
So how are they going to take this information? I would say it has been fulfilling to just see one person who has been addicted maybe to alcohol or any other psychoactive substance being now a recovering addict. It is okay not to be okay.
Wow, what a beautiful afternoon, and today we are definitely coming to you right from Nakuru City. My name is Peter Fabius, and today we are having an amazing show right here on Crown TV. This is the Doctor's Council, and today I'm privileged to have such an amazing young lady, a doctor, a medic actually, who is just going to introduce herself in a short while. And today we have such a beautiful topic that we are going to discuss and help each other out. We are talking about mental health, and without further ado, allow me introduce this amazing personality that we have in the studio. Actually not in the studio, but somewhere at her job place. Karibu sana madam.
Thank you very much.
How are you?
Good.
Thank you for having us here today.
Yes.
And at least we can help people out there.
Yes, I'm so excited for this opportunity.
Yes.
Looking forward to more.
Yeah. First thing first,
Yes.
kindly introduce yourself to our viewers out there.
Yes, hello good viewers. My name is Rachel Anyon. I am a consultant counseling psychologist and a GBV expert based in Nakuru town, Nakuru City. And I'm always excited to have this opportunity to create awareness and to advocate, to lobby for mental health and wellness. I am also looking forward to impact knowledge and empower the society that we live in, and let you all know that it is okay not to be okay. Many thanks.
Wow, what a beautiful way to start the show. It's okay not to be okay. Madam, first thing first now, let's get into the discussion right away. You know, many people out there may not be understanding, you know, what mental health is all about. Someone like me, I just realized, oh, there's something called mental health.
Yes.
And the first thing that I would really want us to talk about is, what is mental health?
The most beautiful question this new year. Mental health is not just about the mental wellness of someone. Mental health has quite lots of compartments. Before you say you are mentally well, you have other aspects of life that you need to be looking at. You need to look at your social well-being. How socially connected are you, and how is it affecting your wellness? You need to look at your spiritual wellness, because that's an aspect that can either build or break your mental wellness. You need to look at your psychological well-being. Many factors surrounding your psychological wellness and movements and even emotional wellness is also part of it. You need to look at even your economics. There's no one strong person who can come up and say that I am mentally well. We cannot bet on that, because there is someone struggling with something somewhere. There's a chapter someone wouldn't want it to be read loud. So we are all struggling with one thing or the other. And it's not just about mental illnesses. It's part of this, but it is more into other social aspects that surrounds everyone. And so everyone needs this information, everyone needs help, everyone needs to be informed, and look forward to how we can manage these things, because they are here with us. We can never run away from issues of mental wellness, and this is a good opportunity for us to learn about this. Yes.
The next question someone would really ask is, what causes mental illness? When we talk about mental illness, someone would really want to know, what really makes someone mentally ill?
There are so many factors that causes mental illness, and there are many other factors that contribute to mental ill health.
Yes.
Those are two different diversities. And one, there are mental illnesses that are caused, their causative agents are just genetics, something you have absolutely no control over. There are things like trauma that can contribute to many issues of mental illnesses, and which we are actually in the category. A lot of people are going through very traumatic experiences. It could be from their childhood, it could be from their places of work, it could be from their marriages, and that now brings on board another issue. There could be a marriage issue that is causing us to have mental health issues.
Yes.
It could be an economic issue. I realized that mental illness and mental health topics came on board quite boldly during the COVID eras. You remember that time people were struggling economically quite much.
Yes.
And even from the beginning of this year, you have been hearing people killing each other, people dying to suicide, people getting into homicides. It's because of also economic issues. Other factors could be personality. There are people whose personalities predispose them to have mental illnesses or even some other issues that negatively affect their wellness. Some other issues could be violence, especially children really get affected by violence in homes and households, and even in schools. There are children who are abused, children who go through quite a very difficult moment in schools, at home, even in church. Culture and religion is also another aspect that we need to we can't ignore that fact that it's also contributing. It can be a pro or con to as far as mental health and wellness is actually concerned, among many other.
Now talking about, you've just talked about violence that is amongst children. At what stage will you realize that now these people are having mental illness, mental ill issues or mental health issues? Like, you know, is it something that is going to happen instantly, or it's something that's going to take a while for them to also actually realize that this person has actually changed, maybe they're going through some kind of trauma or something?
Yeah, that is relative from one person to the other. As we said, personalities really differ, and there are people who would react and start acting immediately, and there are people who would project this in adulthood. A lot of issues that people are having in marriages right now, it is projected from their childhood. So they are getting through something that we call fixation. You are fixated about something, or you have learned. And I have said this like 1,001 times, that children learn by observation and imitation. So if you raise your son battering their mother, that's what they're learning and normalizing, that men are supposed to be beating women. So when they grow up, that's exactly what they're going to do. And now they're going to, the generation is going to keep on learning. But it's high time that now we need to speak out and we start to help people unlearn these things. Because marriages are failing not because the people have issues that really, it's not really about them, it's about their past. Something they have no control over. It was just a trauma that happened because you happen to be in that family, you happen to be in that relationship. People who have been raised by parents who are coming home and they're drunk and disorderly, there's nothing you would have done about that. But it traumatized you and it's affecting your relationship right now, and it's doable. We can change this narrative if you just put your mind to it, because a good thing is it can be healed. Trauma can be healed, it's treatable. Yes.
Because you can realize that you know, mental health, it cuts across all the ages. From children to even old people. Like basically at one point I was working in a school setup, and sometimes you will find some certain children, like when they are playing out there, you realize that their games, they kind of games they are doing are quite violent, meaning this thing could be coming from their homes. Like you find a young boy beating up a lady, I'll kill you, I'll beat you, all that thing. Could this be something they are seeing at home, or is it some kind of mental illness that is growing up pole pole, as in slowly?
Yes, it could be both. It could be and or. For instance, if I wish to reiterate myself, I have said children learn by observation and imitation, so they can still observe and imitate from their society, from their community, or even from that school. Those of us who schooled in the villages, we know what it means by getting to be violated upon before the era of physical or corporal punishment was actually banned in schools. So yeah, they could be learning this from home, they could be learning this from school. They could be also their personalities, like for instance, it's called conduct disorder. There are children who are developing conduct disorder and they may be just violent, and that can also be another contributor to how a child is behaving in school. And well, yes, it's true, mental illness cuts, mental health and wellness issues cuts across all ages. There is no one who is safe. You cannot say, I am prone. There's no immunization for mental health.
For the rich, the poor.
Yeah, it cuts across social states, it cuts across economics, it cuts across political arena. I am happy that even some politicians have come up and talked about their mental health conditions, and that's a very good thing. We are normalizing, we are creating awareness and lobbying for people to accept that,
come out and speak
out their issues and even self-disclose and say, I have been going through this thing while I was in school, I was in church and all that. And yes, it has no age limit. It will cut across. It's just that some illnesses start manifesting its symptoms at particular ages.
I would want us to briefly talk about the signs that you will see in a friend, a relative, or anyone around, and be able to tell that this person could really be going through mental illness.
The signs are many and also vary from one person to another. There are people who will be depressed and they'll be smiling because they're trying to hide up that, especially men, because you have been raised like being a man, you don't need to cry, you don't have to be strong, you're an African man, you are a lion. So many people display different signs differently. But again, if someone is going over, like if someone is laughing at a silly joke, that's something you need to put in records.
You need to be worried about that.
If someone is withdrawing themselves from their friends, families, that's something also you need to notice. If someone used to enjoy doing something, like maybe they used to enjoy football, they used to enjoy going out, and now they don't have interest in things that they used to do, also that's something you need to note. There are some people, they actually speak out. They'll go on their social media, they'll be putting it on their status, they'll be doing it, or small
beautiful conversation that we are having right here with Madam Rachel here, and she's actually trying to also open up our minds so that we can come to the reality that mental health is an issue in the society and in the community. We have this short commercial break. After the break, we still have much more to talk about. See you on the other side of the show.
Na hapa Crown Safaris, sisi huwa tunapeana kaa haya hapa Nakuru, katika mji wa Nakuru town. Karibuni sana.
We have amazing offers for our customers at rates which are as low as 3,000 shillings.
We never thought there come a day you fall in love like this.
What's up, beautiful people? How you doing? My name is Lenso Chieng, and this is African Flair coming out to you on Crown TV.
Me no get the time for the hate and the bad energy. Got my mind on my money. Make you dance like broccoli. Steady green like broccoli. Steady on my grind, no one hear what they want telling me. Could deny my fantasy. Don't want to check if my tapping no wrong. But it they rush quite well, it be much. Now gotta make my tapping the rush.
What a beautiful session we are having right here on Crown TV, and the show on air is actually the Doctor's Council. Today we are getting an amazing experience here. We are having a beautiful conversation with Madam Rachel right here from Amsowell, based in Nakuru City. So you could hear that it's okay to not to be okay. Is that what you said?
Absolutely.
So welcome back. I hope you are enjoying the show. So I think we really need to advance this conversation now. We have actually talked about, consequences of mental issues. Now let's talk about ways to curb it, because I know as a medic there must be a solution to medical problems people that have. So talk to us about ways to curb mental issues.
There are so many ways, and we are trying. Basically, it is sorted through one, medication, if it is clinically diagnosed, if it's a mental illness. Two, psychotherapy, and which is wide range. And three, psycho-education. It's one of the things that we are doing right now. We are creating awareness, talking to people, educating even the caregivers about something one is going through. So before one starts thinking about medication, first of all, you need to, as we had talked before we joined that short break, that you need to be sensitive. Everyone needs to be sensitive, even to the words they are using. And like, for instance, people don't commit suicide. People die to suicide. Just like any other disease. People don't commit diabetes, right? Why don't you people say someone committed malaria?
No way.
When it comes to a mental illness, when someone succumbs to the effects of that, we say someone has committed suicide. And yes, and that's why we are lobbying even for the laws to be changed. Like, if you are found in Kenya that you've tried suicide, you are entitled to 2 years imprisonment, which is actually so unfair that people are being imprisoned for being sick. It's not something you choose to
You are
be.
suffering from malaria, and yet someone is telling you that you are going to be jailed
for suffering from malaria. And we are projecting our voices and saying mental health is as important as physical health. There's no difference.
Yes.
It's just affecting the body. Just that you can see that this person has a broken limb, but you cannot see that this person has bipolar, or something, or they are going through something. Even our organizations, I think they need to now mainstream mental wellness even to their staffs. And we are happy that there are people calling us and saying, we need to have a debriefing, a staff debriefing for our organization, because people have really been working hard, and maybe it's time they need now to speak out. They need now to, at least you need to invest in your workers for them to be more productive. And that is also another way of handling these issues, because these issues are with us. I am looking forward for when this topic will be incorporated even in the curriculums, that people will be learning about anger management. Let's say basic as anger management. There are so many deaths that would be preventable if people learned how to manage their anger appropriately. There is nothing wrong whatsoever to be angered. There's nothing wrong whatsoever to be in conflict with anyone, be it your wife, be it your husband, be it at workplace, it's all right. But how are you handling that conflict? That's a question to be answered, and you have to be really keen when you're answering that, because that's what now it's getting us in trouble. People need to be sensitive and talk about these things, even in families. How many times are parents sitting down with their children, just have 1 meal in a day and talk about the issues that have been affecting them the whole day? I am highly cognizant of the fact that parents are busy, they're looking for money, and times are really hard, and we really have to make sure that we are keeping our kids in school.
Even the economy.
And trying to balance debts and all that. However, it is more important for you to just create that time, be with your children, be with your family, and have usual conversations. Just how was your day? It is more refreshing than take this 2,000 and go do your hair. Just because you want to, for people to see that you're doing well. It's not about people. This should start from within, going to without. And when we talk about therapy, this is not for people who are mad. When we talk about mental health issues, not for the people who have removed their clothes only. It's about the basic things that everyone is struggling with. The hard times. It's about that child who is into addiction. It's about your teenager who is in school and they're struggling with teenage challenges. What are you doing to help? What are you doing to support them, other than beating them up and trying to label them as drunkards? They're just doing normal things that teenagers do, but they are going overboard. So it is high time that even organizations, even institutions, schools, a family as an independent entity, the church, the religious perspective, they also need to come up and be of support. And they can even use their professionals in those platforms. You have a psychologist in your church and they don't support anywhere. Bring them on board, so that you can use maybe the religious background and then integrate with the psychological principles and support the family. Family is the basic unit of a society. If it fails, the church fails, the school fails, the whole country is in a mess. So how much more we invest more in that? Yes.
I want us to, you are a medic, and you've been in this field interacting with people here and there.
Yes.
Are people really coming out to openly talk about this issue about mental issues or mental health? Are people really even coming to you for consultations and all that, or people are still, it's still like it's my thing? Because sometimes you find out you share with someone, like in our societies, you find you share your issues with someone, then tomorrow you realize it is all over. It also brings a lot of anxiety, and many people are dying out of that. According to you, are people really coming out to share their experiences or whatever they are going, mental issues they are going through?
Let me use a comparison. I have been practicing counseling since the year 2010. That was the first time I was doing peer counseling in campus. And if I try to compare then times and today, I would say there is progress, and I am very proud that we have come this far. We are not yet there. We ain't where we are expecting to be, but I am very grateful because I have seen both times. And yes, people are now coming out. People are now saying things, and they don't care now how much you judge them. However, I just urge people to open up in appropriate places and to appropriate people. When you are sharing information with someone, this person is not a professional. So how are they going to take this information? You see, you're doing vicarious trauma. You're transferring your trauma to them because they don't even know what to do. So the only thing that they have to do is also to go and talk to someone so that they feel relieved, and which absolutely is not fair to you and even to that person. So I'd highly recommend that just find a professional, find a psychologist, find a counselor, find someone who this is their job, so they'll know how to keep
professional.
confidentiality because that binds them ethically as their code of ethics and their professionalism. So yes, people are coming up. However, when you are opening up, find appropriate safe space so that you don't get your information out there in the wrong hands. As you explained.
We still have much more to talk about based on mental health, because we also want to look at the role the church has played, even the role that the government has played into in this issue with about mental health issues.
Yes, yes.
We are due for another short commercial break, but it's an amazing, beautiful session we are having right here from Nakuru City. Take this short commercial break. We'll be right back. See you.
Our main aim of the company is to safeguard the environment.
Wow, welcome back. And today I'm sure you've realized that today I look a bit calm because you know the topic we are discussing today is a bit tricky. It's a topic that needs to be understood very well, and we are still having Madam Rachel around here, and she's ready to answer all our questions and still advancing this conversation. Welcome back, Madam Rachel. And thank you again for keeping it here with us. We were talking about curbing mental issues, mental health issues. Now let's talk about the church. Before we went for a commercial break, you were talking to us about how people are coming out nowadays to talk about it openly. But in a society we have the church, we have the government, and we all have also the family and the entire society. Has the church done enough to really curb the issue of mental health?
The church and religion in general, it is a cause and effect to mental health issues. There are people who have come out and said, I am this because the church caused it. And there are people who have said, I am this because the church helped me heal. And spirituality is a very strong aspect as far as mental health is concerned. And I would highly encourage people to have a religious support system, because surely I would say it is very helpful. A lot of people actually come up to talk to their pastors, their clergy in general, about the things that they are going through, especially in family setup. The first stop is your pastor. Pastor, I'm going through this. My child is going through this. My husband, my wife, and all that. Yes. And I wish, I want to recognize that you are doing well, and also creating a safe space for someone to be able to come up and say, I am going through this. However, now there is one more step that maybe the clergy needs to understand, that being a clergy does not qualify you to be a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a mental health expert. You'd listen and say, I really appreciate and empathize with you. However, I would wish to refer you to someone who is qualified to do this job. Not that you are of a lesser person, but you can be a pastor who is even an accountant. So there are issues that you are not well conversant with,
yeah.
and it is okay. You do not have to know everything everywhere all the time. So I think it is this high time that the church now needs to lobby also for support, recognizing that I cannot do all things. Even if you're praying for this person, you just like you pray for someone who has malaria or cancer, but they still go to hospital. It's still the same with who have mental issues. Let them go through the right professional care as you pray for them. And many times people have cried foul that even in media you would see someone says maybe they died or they have been killed, and then their spouses or their relatives comes and say, oh, she went and talked to the pastor, then the pastor said, continue praying and be the woman in the Proverbs 31.
Yes.
And this someone who's going through violence, someone who's going through abuse, and then they are killed in that very marriage. And what is now the church doing when someone like this dies? It was a very preventable death.
Before you just talked about that, it was going to be my next question, because as much as the church is trying, I think there is a point whereby they have actually failed. To an extent they have failed somewhere, because sometimes you go to a pastor, you explain yourself to them, and you tell them, I'm going through this and this and this and this, and they're telling you, no, divorce is not allowed. So you rather die there than. And sometimes God hates divorce. Then sometimes you are telling them, it is unbearable for me in this marriage. Protect the image of the church.
You are a pastor's wife.
You are a bishop's wife. You are a pastor's wife. You are going to bring disgrace to us. Such like kind of things. Sometimes you as a pastor, I come to you, I discuss this with you. I know this is a broad, topic for us. Maybe we'll do it some other day. You come to a pastor, you explain everything, you tell him everything that you're going through. You think it is very confidential. It is between the two of you, but the next day you walk out there, it's all over.
And now that enhances stigma about mental health. Because now that becomes the sermon for the next Sunday. And I think, in my professional opinion, that's absolutely wrong in all terms, and we cannot try and color it or baptize it another name. It is just so wrong to especially expose people's very sensitive issues, and everyone is going through issues. Even the pastor wouldn't want your issues to be out there. So let's just learn the boundaries, like I can go up to this point, and then after this point I refer. I, as a psychologist, I get to a point that I refer to the pastor as well. I said, this needs pastoral support, and I refer. Like, who is your pastor? Maybe you need to talk about this, because this is more spiritual than psychological, and it is a strength to refer. Actually,
I know we've dealt a lot with the church part of it. Let's now, advance to NGOs and these other organizations, as we also transit to the government. As the organizations that we have around in Kenya, or as a country, or even in the entire world, have they done enough to curb mental health issues?
Coming from a background of NGO, I have worked for NGO world for quite some years, and I would say they have tried much more than any other platform in the society. I have seen organizations, international, supporting mental health activities in the most local setup. So they have really tried. The only aspect that maybe the NGO world needs to do is now to focus on try and project the focus also on the service providers who are now their staff. The latest report that DCI released about suicide, one of the leading reasons as to why people died to suicide was marital and relationships issues, and then work-related stressors. There are so many stresses at workplace, and we cannot avoid them because it's part of us. Stress at work is actually part of us. However, we need to find ways that we can be debriefing about these things. Normalize conversations about stress at work. Let's not have work environments that are really stressful to the point of someone dying, like someone getting into depression because of how their bosses are treating them. It's not going to add value to an organization or to an individual actually who's actually trying to make people maybe bow just in the name of you know, you're what, you are my servant. So if these people can, or these organizations can try and even help them, like there are people who, there are organizations even who pay therapy sessions for their staff. There are organizations who get let's say insurances that consider mental health to be, you know, covered on their cover. I think that's one of the best things that would have ever happened in this country and to the whole humanity. And it is doable because it's coming up. I have worked with these people, so I know it's doable, and just one step at a time. Continue working with, you know, with these people and establishing more relationships that help support people at place of work.
We are talking about the government.
Yes.
And you can clearly see in Kenya, even some government agencies, some government employees are, you know, have become, you know, have been found into these mental health issues. Some you hear, you know, somebody killed who. Even in the police force, you hear some policeman killed the wife or a girlfriend somewhere did what. Has the government really catered well for its employees?
We would say absolutely not. In as much as they're still, I am very positive with this conversation because I know where we have been and now where we are going. If you look at the budget, the health budget in this country, mental health has like 1%, which is quite low. But it, believe you, it's growth. Like right now, every level 5 hospital has a psychiatrist. It is something that we would dream about. And now every level 5 hospital has a psychologist. It is growth, and we are doing well. So we're just still calling upon, because if you look at the ratio of psychologists to common mwananchi or even psychiatrists, it is very low still, and we will still get there. We will still need more and more professionals in this sector. And the last time I was seeing something about police and uniformed actually officers talking about mental health. I actually saw in the papers that the government was employing psychologists in the police sector. I don't know how far that has gone, but it's something very commendable. So let's continue, keep on keeping on. We will get there, but we are still way far. We don't want to compare ourselves with any other developed countries. We just want to compare ourselves with ourselves, who we were yesterday and who we are today, and who will be tomorrow, because we don't want that pressure of negative competition. Otherwise, every personnel in these government facilities, they also need support. It's not easy to work, to be a family person and all these things. Even the life, you know, it's now very expensive to even get bread for your kids, bread or something. So it is important that we look at them with an empathetic eye, so that we are able to support them.
Now, you know, we've talked about a lot of things, and I think we'll still have more time also to talk. You know, we really need to talk about stress management in marriages, and even, you know, a lot in our society, and